there are many stories in the news, and you can find basically any major source you want, from MSN to Sputnik to even Fox 2, among others, or Fox News, CNN, any of the majors, would say that this Brexit deal is going to cause a 2 year near economic recession, if not worse. I have three sources here. One comes from MSN Money, one Sputnik, which I usually trust for the most part, one Discover.tv, which I don't usually trust, but this has an interesting take on it because they're claiming that people in Britain are actually going into their shelters and into their bunker systems because they think all out shit is about to hit the fan to one degree or another. So, this is actually quite true. These sources are at least as real as they can be. Dow closes 260 points lower as Brexit fallout continues. MSN. British family prepares to bunker down in fear of Brexit apocalypse. Brexit hits U.S. business investment, making recession more likelier. Stocks on Monday continue to rout, sparked as by Britain's shock vote to leave the European Union. The Dow falls 250 points. Equities on Friday tumble, the most seen in 10 months, which everyone says the 3.9 trillion worldwide that it hit, that was the overall net loss, was the worst since the 2008, as we all know. And basically, everybody's calling the stocks situation, from raw materials to industrial shares, the steepest back-to-back slide since 2011, when we supposedly came out of the 2008. And basically, sentiment was dealt another blow as S&P Global Ratings cut the UK's top credit grade by 2 levels, not just one but two. S&P 500 dropped 1.8%, 2000 holding lowest since March 10. You guys get the whole idea on the stock markets. Hang on one second. This is the one on them hunkering down in the bunkers. An entire Glasgow family, or Gao family, is preparing to move down into their spacious 4-meter diameter, 15-meter long shelter in fear of fallout of what is basically coming as the Brexit apocalypse. Andrew Johnson and his family of 5 decided that they would spend the next several months underground as a means of protecting their family against the harsh times to come. This is the worst possible scenario ever, warns a local entrepreneur and engineer. I've been warning people to prepare for the worst. I knew those crazy Brits would pull us into dangerous situation, warns the proud Scottish patriot. From here on, we have to prepare for what is the worst, and my first duty is to protect my family, he told local reporters. This is from the Sputnik News one, and I gotta be honest, this really didn't have a whole list of different things. I mean, it mentions U.S.-based real sector corporations, ExxonMobil, automotive companies, Ford Motor, heavy machinery manufacturer Caterpillar. Basically says Excuse me. In early 2009, U.S. business investors slumped as much as 25%, according to Consumer Department figures, returning to growth at 20% by late 2011. So what we're seeing isn't that bad, but private sector enterprises are very cautious right now. Um, this Brexit is just one more headache that manufacturers have to deal with, and it's not good for anyone. So whether or not you believe it will be the all-out fallout is up to you, but from what I understand, ladies and gentlemen, all the major historical cycles we've had, all the major civilizations we've been told about, their economies didn't completely die. They moved on and they got better. They just changed political parties, changed political affiliations, changed currencies, all sorts of different things. For instance, the Egyptian government that was run by the pharaohs eventually got to a system where it was just kings, and then they broke into tribes, among other things. Um, the Romans basically did their thing, and they basically split apart the territories, got new governors, all sorts of different things. Um, Even from history, I learned that the Continental Congress and Continental Army of the United States Civil Revolutionary War actually and everything didn't happen quite that well relating to the uh, colonial Congress and colonial days of the American Revolution. I learned that, and I did not know this, that it was decided that the colonial Congress had actually um, had almost had to file for bankruptcy, or did file for bankruptcy, I forget which, because they had spread their money too thin. And oddly enough, ladies and gentlemen, if it wasn't for the French, we would have lost the war. Now, I'm still in the camp that says we did lose the war because, one, the Vatican and other authorities came in later on and put things back the way they were, and two, because eventually we re-signed an agreement with the British. So technically, we did lose the war in the revolution, but we'll go with the historical census to say, yay, we won. But truth is, we did not. So whatever this new economy is, it's coming. Whatever the next economic hurdle is, you know, other economies had them similar. You don't think the Romans didn't have caves that they huddled together with ex-soldiers and rations and made gardens and stuff where people didn't know? They did. I'm certain they did. You don't think the Egyptians did? They did. Sumerians? They did. Any number of other civilizations? They did. What we're going through is no different, one way or another. And everybody's saying this next bubble's going to be pretty much a 2008er, if not worse. Thank you.